Hi there, and in this video we're going to be taking a look at how we connect a Sonos unit to an Onkyo AVR. But hold on a sec, the first thing that we need to do is to make sure that the firmware is fully up to date within the Onkyo AVR. Now I've put a list of supported AVRs along the bottom of the screen so you can see which ones are actually usable with the Sonos. And now all the updating is done, so we can get to grips with hooking the bits of kit up. And it's a lot easier than you might think. So now we've got both pieces of equipment, we can proceed to hook up. Now the back of your Sonos unit may look a bit different because this is an SP80 which came out when Sonos first started. And for what we're doing here, this is absolutely fine to use. So we do have a couple of options. We can run analog out or digital out via coaxial or optical. And for simplicity and sound quality, because it's keeping it in the digital domain for as long as possible, I'm going to be using an optical cable and connecting it to the second optical input on the back of the AVR. That's it. We're essentially done with the connections between the AVR and the Sonos. Right then, now both bits are actually connected up together using that single optical lead. The first absolute must is that your Sonos system and your AVR is connected to the same network. So the first thing we're going to do is pop into the menu of the 686, which is the AVR that I'm using at the moment, and go down to the hardware section, which is number 5. And once we're at that section, we want to move across and select the network features. So we're going to go into the network settings, and I'm actually running on a Wi-Fi, so I'm going to turn it on, and I'm going to need to set up the Wi-Fi. So this is where I will scan for the networks and find the one I want. Once I've found my network, I'm going to connect to it and enter the password. And now that's done, there'll be some privacy statements that you'll have to agree to or not agree to, and then that's the networking side all done and sorted. And we can now move down to option 5, which is the works with Sonos. Now the first option we're greeted with is the actual input selector. So this is where you essentially treat the Sonos as a source, like every other input. And for this particular example, I'm actually going to set it to CD. Then what we need to do is to actually select the particular Sonos unit which is connected to your system. So we move down to connected device, press enter, and the AVR will actually go and search for all of the Sonos units on the network. I've actually named the one media room as the one that's connected to the Onkyo AVR, so that's what I'm going to select. You can also make a choice whether you want the Sonos to come out of the main AVR itself and zone 2, or just one or the other. The last option we have is the preset volume. Now this was added October 2018 as part of the update to the latest firmware, and what this enables you to do is to preset the volume when you're on the Sonos input. So what you actually do is you adjust the volume on the Sonos and not the AVR, because turning the volume control on the AVR does absolutely nothing. And that wraps up what we need to do within the Sonos part of the menu. There's 2 small things left that we actually have to do within the setup, and that's making sure that we adjust the source input selector and actually change the name so that's reflected on the front display. So making sure you're on the input that you actually want to change. So in this case I've pressed the CD button, I've gone into the audio, and I've scrolled through and actually selected the optical input, and that's the one that I want to use. And just so there's no confusion, I'm going to rename that CD input and actually call it Sonos. And then the very last thing I want to do is actually to go into the input selector and make sure I've assigned that particular digital input to that particular label on the front of the unit. And then that's it, we're done inside the AVR. But to be honest, I think it's good to probably have a little bit of a recap on what we've just done. So the first thing we need to do is to make sure both the Sonos and the AVR are on the same network. We then need to go to the input selection and make sure that the optical input that we're using is actually assigned to the label or input on the front of the unit. We then make our way across to the source setup, and we need to select that particular optical input to override any other signal, and while we're there we also rename it from CD to Sonos. And then the final section, works with Sonos, is we select the CD input to be the Sonos input. We also select the particular Sonos unit we want to use, and we set the volume of the AVR, and that's it. Now that the AVR is all set up, we just need to take one moment to look into the Sonos app just so we can set that up correctly. So in the Sonos app, you just press the More button, you want to go to the room settings, and then you want to select Advanced Audio. Now inside the Advanced Audio, we just need to make sure that the line out level is set to variable. If you don't do this, then it will send full volume out to the AVR, and there is a potential there to actually damage your speakers with the amount of volume. So just be a little bit careful on getting this part right, then we're ready to go. Right then, we're all ready to go. I've got my Sonos SP80 connected to the Onkyo AVR. I've opened up the app. I'm now going to actually select a piece of music for that particular room. But one of the things you will notice is the AVR is actually switched off, and it'll stay that way until a piece of music's selected. So I'm running through some of the stuff that I can actually play here on YouTube. Press play, and there we go. The music's playing, and the AVR is actually switched on. Well, I hope you've enjoyed watching this video. It's not going to actually take you 6 minutes to set up your system. It's only going to take you 2 minutes tops. If you like the video, hit the like button, and if you like the channel, please subscribe. It really does make a difference. So take care, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks, bye bye.